I love losing your mind to music. I love to crank it up loud and let that just come out how you would shoot it. Turn that camera on.
Video Killed the Radio Star takes you behind the lens of the most iconic videos ever created. It was the directors that called the shots, and their work could make you or break you. This episode features the work of maverick director Wayne Isham.
You know what? Until I met Wayne, I hated making videos. And that's the God's honest truth. Wayne, yeah!
This is Wayne Isham. This is the pinnacle.
I'm just naturally blurry, so if you try to focus on me, I'll just always be out of focus.
He's got this incredible spirit.
He was just like a ball of fire moving about, you know, it's just so much energy.
I saw a video that blew my mind when I was in college. It was Ashes to Ashes, and I saw that video and went, oh my God, like, what is that? I want to do that, and I'll do anything I can to do that. I'll drive, I'll sweep floors, you know. No, but I'll do anything.
Well, I'm gonna come right out and say it. Wayne is a true rock and roller.
You could just see that this was a guy who sort of, when you were part of the ride, you know, it went to another level, went to 11.
Wayne Isham could have been in Motley Crue or Skid Row or Bon Jovi. He kind of was. I mean, without him, we wouldn't have been the bands that we became.
Before Enter Sandman, they had done a video called One, and they talked to me about it, and I couldn't do it because I love their music so much. So when Enter Sandman came out, it was like, okay, I'm ready.
You know, with a lot of guys that you would meet in the business and so on, it was always, you know, they were somebody else. They were part of something else. But with Wayne, you always felt like it was all of us together. I mean, I've made some great videos with some other people, but I don't necessarily think I've ever had a beer with them or sat down and, like, you know, had a night or talked about your family or talked about whatever it is that you'd sit and talk about, and kind of, it's all part of getting to know each other. Do you know what I mean? And that was always there with Wayne. That was a big part of it, was the friendship. We were mixing the Black Album down at A&M in Hollywood in the summer of '91. I remember he came down and we sat in a room not much bigger than this one, and we basically riffed on what are your worst nightmares? What are, you know, what are the recurring images in your dreams?
What do you like? What's your dream? What's your nightmare? What's your nightmare? What's your nightmare?
And we came up with, you know, swimming pools and falling off buildings and, you know, trucks and all this type of stuff. He shot it actually on one of the sound stages at A&M. I think each of us were in there a couple hours. We did it all individually. It was dark, and I think most of us had our shirts off. It was back when we could take our shirts off and not embarrass ourselves. If it was anything, it was better than I expected. I thought there were a lot of very cool sequences, but I was unsure about the snake crawling on the kid's face. I thought that the MTV censors were going to have a field day with that, but lo and behold, I was wrong, and it premiered on this was back when, like, your video premiered on MTV, you'd actually watch it. It's like, come here, come on, hurry up, 7 o'clock. You know, now world premiere. Ooh, look, we're on MTV. I think certainly one can argue that the golden era of videos has maybe passed. Back then, because videos made a difference, there was more money available for videos. So record companies would write $1 million checks for videos. They don't do that anymore. It's that simple.
Whitney rocks. She really rocks.
I just do.
Well, Whitney was one of those great, exciting jobs that came out of nowhere. And I know that she had worked with so many people, and she was like one of those great pop icons at that time. There's a great time period in my career that I got a lot of, calls from people to do live videos. Because then everybody realized that you can do these fancy videos, or you can do something that has a live energy. And what's great about working with Whitney is that she was excited about the thought process of doing something a little more raw than the pop, video she had done before. I think she really enjoyed the concept of me setting up this gig, people waiting outside, everybody excited, people showing up with their banners, which she hadn't had her shows, and her just going for it. It's like, to me, going, go, just go for it. So I, hooked up with her and her record company, her manager, and all that. And then began the phone call. Her father wants to meet me. What? I go, her father wants to meet me. I don't know, like the only person whose father, had to meet was my wife. So I met with her father, who was her manager at the time, to make sure that I was okay. And it was all about love. It was all about the beauty of her performance. Whitney is a true artist, a true, not diva in the diva sense, but diva in the sense of, exciting, beautiful energy.
Hello, me. Meet the real me and my misfits way of life.
Dave Mustaine has had in the past a lot of issues and things. Having worked with Metallica, and Dave Mustaine had been out of Metallica because of his his issues, drug addiction issues with Metallica. Working with Dave, he's a very intense guy.
Wayne's a very likable guy. He had a partner named Kurt Marvis that I didn't care for. I guess Wayne was the director and Kurt was the producer, and I actually, towards the end of the Sweating Bullets video, I had been sober before we did that video, and during the course of the video, it was such an absolute mess that I took a drink, and by the end of the night, I had fallen off of the wagon because of the way that they were handling things, and at the end of the video, I went up to Kurt and I said, I'm going to break your neck, and I kicked a hole in the wall, and I said, if you come in here again, your head's going through the wall, and he remembers it. I remember it. The problem was it was Eddie Murphy's studio, so I kicked a wall in Eddie's studio. I think because the record company never really understood Megadeth, that they were pretty much just throwing money at us and let us doing what we wanted. The video for Sweating Bullets was over $300,000. What a waste of money. Absolute waste of money.
I think there's no question that everybody thought that there's a shitload of money going down. It wasn't a shitload of money. What happened was that there were people that were willing to spend money on imagination. So it wasn't about there's money going out. There's money going out to imagination. Working with Dave was one of those great experiences. Of course, now he won't talk to me, but after that, it was great.
Still to come, Motorcycle Madness with Judas Priest.
We were off doing wheelies. I remember I tried to do one up this bank one and the bike fell on me and burnt on my leg. I've still got the scar.
And Wayne on Life, the Universe and Motley Crue.
Burlesque and stripping and all that is a beautiful art form, just like the whole concept of metal.
It seemed like Wayne, in a nutshell, made better videos than anybody else did.
If he told me to go over there and stand on my head, I'm going to make you look good, I'll go do it.
Let me adjust everything now. How do I look? Like a survivor. That's a good answer.
We understood right from the beginning how important a good video was going to be. The mid-80s were just insane. It was just a pig out, It was excess, total excess. Bands were spending more on one single conceptual video than they were on an entire album.
During that time period, I really feel gifted that the music that I enjoy came along my way. It's like working with Judas Priest. Those are a bunch of cynical old English going like, what? And to me, they're metal gods. And once they said, well, Wayne, whatever you want to do, and they just like went for it, then that was awesome for me.
I think we felt confident, obviously, being with Wayne because we knew, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, he went the whole hog with the final thing as you see it.
To me, it's one of my favorite videos I've ever done. We did a animated piece, and I tried to do my own crude form of, Harryhausen animation, and it was the biomechanoid.
I mean, he set us loose on bikes. They were like Road Warrior bikes, 750s. We were off doing wheelies. I remember I tried to do one of this bank one, and the bike fell on me and burnt on my leg. I've still got the scar. And that's what Wayne used to do. He used to, like, set you free, and then just let you do your thing, but he'd pull it out of you.
I think Wayne defined the 80s rock and metal scene with his video approaches. It's very distinctive, his work. Look at anything that comes on VH1, you can immediately sense if it's got the Wayne Isham style and approach to it.
I think that Howard reacted to the English wave, all these incredible English directors that come to the United States. Directors like Russell Mulcahy and C. Barron, they were like the gurus. Obi-Wan. But I thought it was very funny that Howard, who's a very proper English guy, who is very mild-mannered, he hired some California long-haired dude as his director.
You got the stocking and I got the plug.
I knew that I liked him, and I knew that he got me. He understood me. So that's really all I needed to know. I think that from Wayne's point of view, maybe it was a chance to work with a much more pop artist and to be able to do maybe some more experimental techniques.
That was at the time when I did what was called Isham-stration. Isham-stration. I learned that right from the beginning. Tag it, put your name on it, and I made it my own. Isham-stration.
We were working with this Xerox technique where the film was transferred to Xerox paper, and then 60 animators were animating stuff over the top of that, and that just really appealed to me, that we were doing some groundbreaking technique.
So it was all just Xerox and me scribbling on it, but don't tell people that. It was a really unique art form. We just got along, like this, and I remember when his manager called up, he goes, "We're over the moon." I go, "What does that mean? Are you angry? Because you're over the moon, you're angry? Or is that good?" I didn't know what that meant. Well, one of the favorite videos I've ever done that people rarely talk about was Girls, Girls, Girls. I enjoy the whole concept of strip clubs. There's nothing wrong with burlesque and stripping and all that is a beautiful art form, just like the whole concept of metal. I love the idea that I wrote for this song. We're going to ride around on motorcycles through every strip club in LA and film it. And that's the concept. And okay, it's like, what? We're in. So that's what we did. I felt we did a very respectable job of it. Nothing really was overt or, insultive. Girls, girls, girls. Come on, that's the most beautiful thing on earth. Well, did anyone get in trouble? Were they good boys? There's a funny story that we went, I had a Corvette convertible, and we were at one strip club. We were driving to another. And along the way, Tommy and I were driving. I said, let's just go in here and get a margarita real fast before we go to the next location. So he and I drive over, and we pull in. And there's Nikki and my partner already there having a drink, going like, we thought we were going to sneak a drink. And half the crew's already having a drink. So we all laughed. That was funny. Truly was one of those great jobs. And I'll be honest with you, that can't happen now, because nowadays people can't do that stuff. People very shocked, offended, what's right, what's not right. That was one of those pure innocent jobs of literally going from club to club on motorcycles and having fun.
On the way, Sebastian Bach changes the world.
Dude, when I was a kid, man, that video was like so heavy, man. Like, I thought somebody like died and stuff.
While Bon Jovi prepare to conquer it.
We were on the eve of becoming the biggest band in the world that day.
One of my favorite expressions in the metal days was, dude, check out my hat. Like, what are you talking about? You're not wearing a hat. It's all about the hair. They always called the hair the hat. Get the spray, like the hairspray. Check out my hat. So, dude, how's my hat is what I want to know.
But Wayne Isham's video for our song, 18 to Life, has 100% lasted the test of time. And I go around in airports all over the world, and kids run up to me and go, dude, 18 to Life, it's in my iPod. I got it in my iPod. Look, look.
Ricky was a young boy. He had a heart of stone.
There's the gold single that we never would have got without the 18 to Life video. Thank you, Wayne. He came up with the whole story and everything. I didn't have much to do with that concept. Wayne made a movie.
18 to Life was a very melodramatic song about, which was a true story about two kids were mucking around with a gun and one shot the other.
They call me, they go, Sebastian, tomorrow you're shooting your part for 18 to Life video. So I got in my white Corvette with my chick, yeah, hair blowing in the wind, it's summertime. And I get down to like this warehouse kind of area, and Wayne goes, chill out, we're gonna do this in a minute. So I take my wife upstairs, she wasn't my wife at the time, and we're sitting around and we're like in this closet area, there's a mattress on the floor. So I gotta lock the door. We get down and dirty, start making babies right there on the set. Boom, 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 Sebastian, come on, shoot the video. I go, oh my God. Pulled the pants up, sat down. Ricky was a young boy. I was going. And I honestly think I only did it one time. I remember just pulling my pants up, sitting down, singing it into that one solitary light, and Wayne just went, right on, you're done, dude. Bye, or walk back upstairs. I go, come on, babe.
Visually, it worked out great. It was a very exciting, interesting shoot because we were down at this old factory, and there was a burnout car there, and I go, well, let's just light that car on fire. So let's do it. We lit the car on fire, and the guys are drinking, throwing bottles at it, and shooting up in the air, and it was awesome. And I really enjoy what it looks like. I really enjoy the story. It was heavily censored by MTV.
There's been a lot of people that's come up to me saying, dude, when I was a kid, man, that video was like so heavy, man. Like, I thought somebody like died and stuff. That's happened to me many, many times, But to me, it has a cool factor. Even to this day, I don't cringe when I watch it. I don't at all. I'm very proud of it, actually. Yeah.
Please forgive me, for I have sinned against you, my Lord.
Ozzy Osbourne, to work with Ozzy, that was like a gift from God. Ozzy had been chastised by Jimmy Swaggart. And Jimmy had held up his picture and chastised him in public. And so Ozzy, who I really consider one of the geniuses of metal, and his voice is awesome, he wrote a song called The Miracle Man. And Jimmy got caught with his pants down.
I'm looking for a miracle man. Who's not in disguise. I don't know where he'll come from.
We found a deconcentrated church, a Church of England church, and we had 300 pigs in the pews, and Ozzy had this mask on, which is a horrible mask that we made, but it was funny anyway. And I shot it, and it was like we had the church, it was like, forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned. And then the first riff that came out, I just bought these Nikes, by the way. This is when Nikes cost like $280. I bought these Nikes. I thought I was cool. And the first riff, the guitar hit, every pig shat in that church. It was like, wah! They all started squealing. Every pig just shat. It was hilarious. And Ozzy had the staff, instead of the cross, had a dollar sign. Remember, he started poking the pigs. And it was just hilarious. But I love that it was deconsecrated. So no pigs were harmed, and there's no, sacrilegious elements achieved outside of humping a pig from behind.
For me, a talented director captures what's really there. And that's what Wayne is great at. I'm not trying to be here being a cheerleader or anything like that. He's just that good. The first day that we got together, him and I just connected completely. I think it was my birthday, actually. And we didn't sleep much. We had a lovely time, and we made the #1 video that was probably on MTV, and they couldn't kick it off. I think it was on for like 80 days straight, and they had to retire it or something. It's almost a documentary. We were still a new band at that point, and we were new to each other also. I think that there was a certain part of the relationship between the bandmates that Wayne captured, between John and I, and between the fun that we were having as the rocket ship to stardom and fame was taking off. Because at that particular point in time, and I'm trying to be humble now, but at that particular point in time, we were on the eve of becoming the biggest band in the world that day.
One of my favorite shots in that video of Living on a Prayer is that we did fire. I love blowing shit up, and I love fireworks, and we had fireworks coming down, and I led the cameraman through, and he had a drape over his head so he wouldn't get burnt. And I walked through the flames. He walked through all the sparks, and I stood there and ruined the shot. And then I realized, just as these sparks were leaving, that I had to run away. But it is one of those funny moments in a video when you see how I'm just so enamored with the filmmaking process. I just sat there like, wow, this is cool. And I ruined the shot. It was a huge success for everybody. It was a huge success for me because it confirmed what I believe in. Cameras, fun, music, and you go for it.
Wayne captured the essence of our band and brought us through where we are today. He's a good man. He's a good man. He's a good parent. He's a good friend. He's a good director.
When I started on the journey, I never thought in any sense that from the guy who swept the floor at A&M Records and watched all these crazy English out there doing this wild stuff, that I ever imagined that I was going to be able to take it further. And I'm very proud of that. Just to confirm in everyone's mindset, I didn't have a mullet. Everyone accuses me of having a mullet. I did not have a mullet. It was a modified shag. It was not a mullet. It might have appeared to be a mullet. It might have been a metal mullet, but I never really had a mullet.